Adventures, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in a student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wade in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. You're listening in at 2 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. GMT on Sunday, the 21st of December, 2014. And we are coming to you the week before Christmas this year. So I want to wish everybody a happy holidays and a Merry Christmas for whatever it is you may be celebrating this time of year. We are joined, as usually, by our good friend Kenneth. How are you doing today, Ken?
We're joined as usual about 75% of the time by Kenneth. Yay! Yeah, pretty good, sir. Pretty damn good. And oh man, how crazy is it that it's the 21st of December today? That is absolutely mind-boggling. I mean, last week I said this last week. I said last week. Next week will be worse. But yeah, I can't believe the day. That's crazy. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. It has been a fun week, and so I think we should jump right into things and let people know what we've been doing and things not geeky this week with, well, actually, first, for anybody listening, know that you should be able to go out there and also check us on the video link. Come watch us live. If you check out the Versus the World channel on YouTube, you can catch our show live on video and see both Ken and my wonderful faces as we do the show. Unlike times in the past where the concern was that our audio quality might not have been up to snuff on a video stream, we fixed all that when we moved to the YouTube channel, so now we sound even more lovely coming to you live on YouTube. So come check us out there. Also, come join in the IRC. We'd love to see what you have to say as you interact with the show. Also, before we get into our Geek cred section, we'd love for you to send us an email into showx@vtwproductions.com so we can know what geek cred you've been up to, as well as anything you might think about the show, comments about articles and stuff we talk about, or just in general our lives. Feel free to comment in. We like to know what you think. All right, so with that, let's jump into some dysfunctional deviation so we can talk about what we've been doing not geeky this week. So,
dysfunctional deviations.
Ken, what have you been up to?
Well, I think the IRCs would go a little bit crazy at some of this stuff and have a good laugh anyway. Let's see, what have I been up to? First of all, I'll give some thanks and shout-outs to some people, as we do every week. Thanks to Hando and to Mr. Stoner for supporting the show. We do appreciate, guys. Everybody else can go check us out at patreon.com/showx to check out us there as well. We do appreciate. I got a couple more thank yous. 'Tis the season for giving, after all, and the VTW community always blows me away with how incredibly kind everybody is. It's astounding. It's absolutely amazing. So, thank you very much to Kur0 for 7 Days to Die. Thank you to my friend Graham, who's, I would call him a VTWer, but you know Graham. You all know Graham. For Murder Miners. Don't know if I should thank him for that one, though. And thanks to, I think it was the random, most cheapest random one he could find just to try and be like, I don't know. Find it funny. And thanks to Tom Badguy for Assassin's Creed 4. That's quite a big purchase. I do appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. So, now that all that's done and dusted for now, we're getting ready for a Christmas here. So today, we've got 4 people staying for dinner on Christmas Day. So today I decided to go do some food shopping, and we looked online and I thought, you know, it'd be a lot easier with the bad weather if we could get it delivered. That'd be lovely. So I went online to Tesco's like I normally do, and I was like, oh, all the booking slots are taken. I guess that makes sense. Let me try Morrison's. And then Morrison's was all done. I was like, oh, okay, let's try Iceland. Let's try Waitrose. Let's try... Yeah, there is no chance of me getting any food delivered this year, at this time of year anyway. So, I picked up my giant old army bag. It's from above my shoulders down to below my bum.
Essentially your rucksack, yes.
It's a rucksack times 3, really. Went down to the shops with that and bought all this stuff from one shop, went shop to shop, and I kept piling it in. Got a big giant turkey, got loads of vegetables, chocolates, biscuits, alcohol, everything you need. And at one point, you know how horrible that stressy time is when you're young and you're in the queue and you're with your mother at the shops, and she's like, oh, I forgot something, I'll be back in 2 seconds, and the line's slowly going closer to the guy scanning everything, and you're just waiting because he's going to ask
like,
you to
come
pay
back.
for it.
Yes, I'll say we're going to be here.
They get stressed, and you start sweating, and well, that didn't quite happen. But instead, there was so much stuff in my tiny little bag, and there was this. You know, how you have those charity kids who want you to put some pennies in their tub to help you pack, sort of thing. Well, I brought plastic, so that was awkward, and I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, can't help you shoving stuff in this bag," and then it was really busy today because it's so close to Christmas, and there's a huge queue, and I'm trying to just fit everything in, and this guy's like, "You sure you don't want to help?" I'm like, no, it's okay, I'll do it. And I ripped my bag like in halfway through doing it. And yeah, I eventually managed to get home in the pouring rain, carrying about my own weight in food today. So that was a lot of fun. The getting ready for Christmas isn't the most fun part of the season, I would say.
Oh God, no.
However, it's nice to see our cupboards full of delicious looking food. We're gonna have bread sauce, and we're gonna have gravy and turkey and Brussels sprouts.
Yeah.
Oh, so good. Cranberry sauce. What's strange? What's strange?
No, not strange.
Face.
It's just I don't ever look forward to Brussels sprouts. That's just me, though.
That's part of the holiday, though.
Not for us, thankfully. I mean, that's something that was always your parents told you to eat it because it was good for you and greens and stuff like that. But otherwise, it's like, this tastes like, mush. I don't know, mush terrible. It's just.
But it's farting power, though. That's the fun part. You just tell the kids, but then you'll be making some noises in a couple hours, and they start laughing and they eat them all.
What? Yeah, my parents never did that, so I have no idea.
Okay.
I know that's just something that I would avoid eating because it always. I think I've had Brussels sprouts made once that tasted somewhat delightful, that somebody was able to find a way to get a texture on them that wasn't just mush and a flavor to them that was quite good. Other than that, I've been like, these are terrible. Why would anybody eat these except for out of bare necessity?
No, I'm telling you, just a touch of salt on top. Oh, they're quite nice. They are quite nice. So yeah, getting ready for Christmas. We've been ordering stuff. Got your bed en route. It'll be arriving tomorrow. And yeah, just been getting ready in general. It's all been going fine. So in the lead up to Christmas as well, there are always work nights out. That's part of the fun. So I had one on Monday that was kind of a general Christmas night out, and it was good fun. And I drank for free, which was awesome because
always good.
There's this meal deal thing on where you can get like 4 drinks with your meal. And so everybody did that, but then half of them realized, oh, we're working tomorrow, it's Monday. And I was like, I'm off tomorrow. So I just hoarded in all these free drinks. It was great. I had something like 20, 30 drinks for free, which was fantastic. It was so much fun. And I also went out Thursday night. This was for a friend's leaving do.
Oh, nice.
And so since it was leaving do, he wanted to have a good time. And so I ended up drinking quite a bit. And I was at work the next day. So we go out into the town and we start going pub to pub, and we have a couple drinks here, a couple drinks there. It's clearly a work night atmosphere. Everybody's 45 plus, apart from me, at our table and everywhere else, women and men. As usual, the men are coming onto the women and the women coming to the men, and since I'm young, I seem to be a target. Which is, you think it sounds fun, but when it's that kind of age group, you're just like, no, thank you, I'm married, and they're like, yeah, but are you going home tonight, or do you want to come back to mine tonight? No. But thankfully, no woman said that to me.
Oh, good.
Emphasis on the woman.
Oh, so you're saying it's not that you got no attention that night?
That's definitely not the problem. So we decided we had quite a few by this point. I had 3/4 of a liter of rum before going out, and then I had a lot of drink when we went out, including tequila and much else besides. So we were having a good time. It was very
tequila leads to bad things. Tequila's an enabler.
And we walk into this random bar one of the guys suggests, and when we were like in there for about 10 minutes, I sort of looked around and I think to myself, oh wait, this is a gay bar. I had no idea. But it makes sense considering there's a guy doing press-ups on the floor over there for absolutely no reason. This guy was showing off.
I'd say that just sounds like a college douche bar. I don't understand. That doesn't have to be a gay bar.
Oh yeah, it was a douchebag. But like I thought to myself, I think most people get beat up if they did that normally. So, so I was looking around, and we'd been there for a couple of minutes, not very long. I was in our small group, we weren't near anybody else, and this guy comes over to me, and I think. Is he going to ask me to dance? Is he going to just try and say, excuse me, get to the bar? What's going on here? And he leans over and he whispers into my ear and he goes, and I say, excuse me, sir, what did you say? I didn't quite catch that. And he says, if you effing come near me again and effing push me again, I'm going to slit your throat and kill you.
Wow.
Yeah, and I was like, sorry, sir. Like, I knew the guy was looking for a fight because I was nowhere near him. He was about my size, my height. He's about 6'3" or so, quite big built. And I just thought, as I said, I'm not going to... I'm very tempting to just smack the guy there and then, because a guy threatens your life. You want to retaliate,
that's
especially at that
shitty,
level of drunk. At that level of drinking, you're like, I could destroy this guy. But you're like, no. I managed to keep a sensible head. I just said, sorry, sir, it won't happen again. And it went off. And I just leaned over the bar, pointed to the guy, and I said, that guy just threatened to kill me. And they went, oh, we're so sorry. And they chucked him out.
Nice. Well, there you go.
That easy. And so we had a trouble-free night from then on. Went outside at one point, and one of my friends asked one of the chaps outside, hey, do you have a number for a taxi? We're all planning on going now. And he's like, oh, yeah, here you go, no problem. And as we're dialing it in, he comes over to me and says, so, are you guys going to a party or something? And he starts putting his hand sort of around my waist. And remember, the guy's out of here on me. He's quite a small guy in comparison. I'm sort of looking down at him like, what are you doing, wee man? What are you doing? And he says, you go to a party or somewhere? I was like, and I said, and I'm not trying to be, wasn't trying to be mean or anything, but I said in a completely, obviously stating way, I'm going home to see my wife. And he goes, honey, over half the guys in here have wives.
See what you were getting yourself into there, kid?
Yeah. And I just said, I'm sorry, no thank you. And the guy was persistent though, and he said, how about your number then? I'm like, nope. Sorry, not interested. Good luck, Mo. Good luck.
It sounds like your gay bar experience was much more interesting than mine. I mean, mine was neat because I got, there are people roller skating and doing all those kind of things when I'd gone to roll. Cool. But with yours, it's, you actually got some attention. Very nice, sir.
I mean, other than getting the attention, both the positive and negative side of things, I'd say I enjoyed it. It was good fun. I think people will feel less afraid of dancing in a gay bar, which is nice because I don't know why. I don't know why that reason is, but it's nice because then it's a bit more fun.
Well, because at a gay bar, you tend to have more people of both genders who are just more open to being out there, and they're not as worried about being on display. Where I go to so many clubs where guys in general are like, oh, I don't dance. Why dance? And it's like, what? Are you kidding me? Why not? Women need someone to dance with, and it can either be you with your girl or some other guy with your girl. Make a choice.
That's a good point. But I don't know, it was just good fun, and I actually thought to myself, if I was out in town again anytime soon again, I'd happily come back here. So long as I keep an eye out for that one guy who threatened to kill me and slit my throat. Other than that guy.
Other than him. I mean, the guy that was trying to pick you up and take you home, you don't have to worry about him.
Yeah. And I started thinking to myself as well, slight side note here, it must be pretty difficult for people going to these kind of bars, because you go in, and I'm a straight guy in there. I was with this other straight guys and a straight girl, and in there was girls and guys who I'm guessing were lesbian and gay as well, mostly. Meaning, in a gay bar, you don't just have gay people, you have all possible orientations, more so than before.
It's like at any bar, any club. Well, but the difference is it's the numbers game, right? Because there's the idea that if you go to a predominantly gay bar, or one that's known to be, that there's always a potential you're there for a reason. Other than just to kind of show up and have fun. So, by all means, it kind of breaks down that barrier for people right up front, so they don't feel as off-put by coming up to you and saying, so, hey, how's it going? Have you ever considered? Because you're there in the first place, right? Whereas if they were to do that at what was considered a more traditional bar, you might be able to say, like, whoa, hey, what's going on, guy? But in that kind of bar, again, even how you reacted, you're like, no, I'm going home to my wife. And he was able to persist, but at the same time, it wasn't nearly, you were kind of like, well, it makes sense, we're at a gay bar.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's
you're right, I'd probably be a little bit taken aback if it was in a normal situation. I'd just be like, oh, that's a gay guy, that's unusual. Well, that's all it would be, though, but,
Well, and I know for me as a guy, you kind of start thinking, like, wait, do I put out that vibe? Is there something I'm doing that says, like, no, I'm gay? If you're in a traditional bar and you got picked up like that, you'd kind of wonder, like, wait, why would you pick me out as being, a target versus anyone else here? And so...
That's true. But one of the guys I was with, the one who was leaving actually, said to me afterwards, Why did he ask for your number, not mine?
Aww. Yeah, it's funny, right? Because I guess I've only gone to the one gay bar that I know specifically, but at the same time, I was on a night that is more open to everyone, and I was just talking to a friend yesterday about that because she was heading to the same bar to Trax after hanging out here for a bit, and comment kind of being like, no, the only night that is predominantly not gay is on Roll, the third Friday of each month where they do the roller skating party. Every other night you go to Trax and it is predominantly gay and no question about it. And so the way we were talking about it was kind of funny because she was like, oh no, that's the day that we let everyone else in and kind of thing. But I don't know. I've never been to a gay bar when it was normally like the no question that's the population that's there that night. So I don't know what that's like.
Fair enough. I'm just saying it must be difficult because for that guy there, he'd probably go up to me and like, oh, there's a man. Cool, I'm at a gay bar. I have a chance here. And then I'd tell him all straight. And then he goes, oh, I literally have no chance here. That is such a shame.
I don't know. You said that and he still gave it a shot. He was still like,
oh, well,
you say I've got no chance, but do I really? I mean,
maybe that's worked in the past, I guess. I mean, there must be some people who go there who are married and like went there for a reason, and they're like,
hey,
oh, hopefully somebody persuades me into it, so I don't feel, you know.
We used to joke about back in the day when we played a lot of soccer practice stuff because the singer from that, Johnny McGovern, he had his podcast where he'd have his friends on. They're all gay. And I remember specifically Octail had brought it up at one point where in an episode they were talking about how they would go to convert people who were straight and how they had a methodology for it of how they were very successful in getting people who were straight to give it a shot. And they had talked about it. And so I always left me like, huh, interesting, but not anything that ever worried me. So
I don't want to say that that's wrong, but and this is a totally your opinion is wrong topic right here. But I think if I try to make a gay person straight, it'd be seen as bad. Why is it not bad the other way around?
Right. Opinion is wrong is where that goes because I have a whole discussion topic based on some of the subculture and groups I've been around with anime and stuff like that, where I believe there's entire groups who are recruiting, essentially, that they make an environment for people that have a troubled youth, so people that, you know, have gone through school and had a tough time and weren't accepted into groups, that they make a very accepting culture in some cases so that people who are still in formative years that haven't really figured out their own sexuality, their own way of living, often are susceptible to being, and the word is a little harsh, but to say coerced into that lifestyle. Because I've seen people who are, in my opinion, young enough to not really be sure what they're doing in life, make these kind of sweeping, over-the-top decisions about, I am this way now. And I try to figure out why that is, because these are people who were more traditional or in one way or another first, and then come off suddenly, it seems, to make a decision that's life-altering, like, nope, I'm this way now. It's not like the college age, I'm experimenting thing that I know so many people who've come up with those things. A lot of women say, oh, well, in college, haha, experiment. You know, none of that. These are young high school, middle school age kids who are like, this is the way I am. And I believe a lot of it comes from, this is my opinion, and I am not that way, so I know a lot of these groups would probably just hate me for saying it, but my opinion is a lot of these kids have suffered some kind of ill at the hands of the other gender, something like maybe they had their first relationship or early relationships and they did not go well because at that age you don't know what you're getting into. And so it seems like such an easy answer to say, oh, well, maybe the reason I'm doing this is because maybe the reason that was such a bad relationship is because I'm really gay, or I'm really transgender, or I'm really something else. And so then they go that route because the groups that are that way are very accepting of people. And so those people that tend to be on fringe of, normal social groups are like, oh, a home, a place that I can be around people and be comfortable. Maybe I am gay. And stuff like that. And I say that because these are people who, when you talk to them, they can't give you that definitive, I have always been attracted to this gender, or when I got here, suddenly I realized that was really what I was attracted to. You talk to them and you realize they're just filled with confusion, essentially.
Yeah.
And like I say, it's not everyone, but there are some specific groups I've run into where I really wonder if they truly are gay, or if that's just something they found that makes them feel safe and comfortable. Again, hate me if you will. just my opinion, but I've been around a lot of it, and I'm old and old school and straight and all these things, so I could just be completely deluded. That's just me.
So my favorite, my point for this, my personal sexuality is, I have always admired the state of sexuality of pansexuality. I wouldn't say I am, because I've never yet experienced it. However,
all you have to do is go into, here's the worst joke ever, of course, and it's been done many times. All you have to do, Ken, is go into your kitchen, grab the first nice solid, cast iron pot you can find and see what it feels like. But yeah, no, I know. Pansexual, the idea of being attracted to someone's personality versus gender, where actual gender or things like that don't matter.
And I think that's a beautiful thing. However, I've never felt myself attracted to men, and therefore I don't think I am pansexual. However, I think that's a great thing, and I like to think everybody is, in theory, possible. It is possible for everybody to fall in love with anybody based on personality and not, their bits.
Absolutely. I believe that you can fall in love with someone for any reason. My challenge is I'm still old school enough, old curmudgeon, born in the 70s, that I believe in male and female. I believe in gay, bi, lesbian, and that's about as far as I really take my definition of people. Because transgender, I give some credibility to the level of, yes, there are people who choose to live their life as another gender kind of thing. But I have a challenge with people truly calling themselves men when they don't have the parts to support it. Because I grew up as a boy, as a man, going through all those things that you do with the locker room nonsense, things like that, whatever you want to call it, as a guy. And so I have a very specific past and history that is defined by being a guy, right? That you can't have had if you did not have the bits and go through that and then suddenly decided that you want to identify yourself as a guy. And so I get somewhat offended when I have females that are saying, nope, I'm a guy, call me a guy, I'm offended if you don't call me a guy. Because I'm like, drop your drawers and prove it, because my life experience is very different from yours. Well, bite me. But that's, I would say, again, I'm an old curmudgeon, and I understand if I'm not progressive enough.
I'd half agree. I'd say, but so long as they don't, literally think that they're men. If they think that mentally they're men, that's a separate thing, right? If you think you're mentally you're a man, cool, whatever, I don't care. But accept the fact that physically, even if you get an operation or whatever, you are still physically going to be the sex you are when you're born because of your DNA. That's what entirely defines you, whether you like it or not. And you can always try to pass off otherwise, and that's cool, but just as long as medically you understand what you are. And you can, and fair enough if in your mind or something else. However, in terms of sexuality and gender and stuff, if you want to identify as something else, that's cool. I honestly don't care, though. Like, I don't care if random person's on the street, a random person I meet in the club gets offended if I say he or her or whatever, because you can identify as you want, but as you're saying, I don't have to call you anything. Same way I could call you a girl if I want to, Wayne, because there's nothing stopping me other than our friendship. So I can do what I want that way, and so can you. You can label yourself if you want to. If you want to be a pretty little snowflake who has their own little cisgender thing, well,
so there's the
great
thing.
for you, but I don't care. Like that,
if you want to be, of course, if you want to be considered that and have the gender thing, that's fine. But at the same time, don't you dare get offended if I don't see it or accept it because I don't know any better, and don't expect me to change my complete way of thinking just because you decide that you want to be a certain way, and especially if I can't physically see it. Don't you dare, because I don't know you from Adam or Eve or whatever it is you're trying to believe yourself to be, the snake, if you will. So don't get mad if I don't get what your lifestyle is, because my upbringing and my background is very different. And it's not that I'm going to say you're wrong for what you do, but don't get mad at me for not understanding, kind of thing. And I try to be very open to a lot of it, but there's points where I've gotten fatigued by it, because they throw it in my face so much and they're so wishy-washy about a lot of the decisions I make. And this isn't everybody. There's specifics that I've run into where I'm just like, you know what? I no longer give you credibility for that way because you haven't even figured it out yourself. Wait until you've made a solid decision. Maybe, and it's ageist to say this, that I say maybe let me wait until you're after your college years, until you hit your mid-20s, before I take you serious. Because under that age, you're so likely to switch back and forth, and I've seen it, that I don't want to really sit in there and be like, you got it, you go, girl guy thing. I'm going to sit back and wait till you're, in my opinion, an adult who's experienced some life before I say, okay, now you figured out, now I will accept what it is that you're going with. Because I don't want to try to keep up with all the decisions and changes. So, wow, we've totally turned this into basically a quick Your opinion is wrong
I know.
segment, since it's been so long since we've been able to vent on that.
It's so easy to do as well. That's the problem with it.
All right, we'll get back on track. Ken, what else have you been doing that's
Oh yeah, I was at the gay
non-geeky?
bar. Right. Okay. I was at the gay bar. That's how we
This
got
is
there.
how we
That's
went
got
down
there.
this rabbit hole. Yes.
Jeez. Oh man. Okay. Gay bar was good fun, and I would recommend going to them because you don't have to be unless it specifically says, of course, because it's up to the owner depending on the country and stuff. I think gay bars are a lot of fun, and the good thing is a lot of people are very confident because a lot of them feel like they're in their own environment. So you're right. The dancing is more prevalent for that reason, I think. So I would highly recommend it for a night out and stuff. And I thoroughly enjoyed it anyway. All right. Next up, what else have I been up to? Nothing really. That's been most of my night out, to be honest. So I would recommend checking out my League of Legends link when you have a second. But otherwise, yeah, I'm happy. How have you been in the past week, sir? What have you been up to?
So I've been busy as I always am. Things have been fun. Much like you, I need to throw a shout out right at the beginning to Tom Badguy again for gifting to quite a few people. If you follow him on Twitter at Tom Badguy, you would have seen all he's been up to lately. Not only has he been gifting things out to a ton of people, in fact, I think Hando, you might have even reciprocated for or gotten something for it. But he's also been posting, and this was both on the front page of VTW Productions as well as on his links, a ton of Street Fighter things lately, videos and such that he's been involved with because he is a major fight game enthusiast. So big thanks to him. He got me this War of Mine, which I've been dying to play, even though it's supposed to be a very depressing game. I'm super curious about it, so
It looks
can't wait
cool,
to check
doesn't
that
it?
out. Other than that, and that does go into, much like you said, Ken, earlier, our community is amazing. How they are very generous to each other and how they gift everything out over this time of year. I haven't seen yet in the forums whether we have a thread going for the random gifts, the Secret Santa that we kind of do, where you just kind of keep going down the list of things you've accepted and given. It's a perfect time of year for it, though, and we'll talk about it more because there are so many sales going on. But we'll wait until we get the Geek Cred section or Dysfunctional Deviations, or Geekoscope before we talk about that. All right, other things. This has been the last week of the year for me for all of my dancing, so it actually works out well since I'm about to go on vacation, that this week there's no dance classes, so it'll give me more time after work each day to try to get everything packed and get ready for this. I'm starting to realize, wait, I fly out on Thursday. That's all of like 4.5 more days from now.
That's
I
crazy.
should probably be ready. So doing that, but did have a lot of fun last week dancing. In the hip-hop class, we had our showcasing, so people brought families and such, and we had to set up routines in our class and be able to perform it, which was kind of interesting because my hip-hop elements class that I do with my instructor Jared, where we kind of go over just basics of bounce and slide and steps, all the kind of just basic moves, as well as go into some routines and things with locking, popping, house, all the different dance styles. He came to us and said, "Oh, we're doing showcase tonight, so let's do a new routine tonight." And basically taught us that day really basic stuff, just kind of intros, but linked 3 styles together. So we went, or was it 4? Gosh, because we even did, I think, a little bit of breaking at the end. So we started out with, I want to say we started out with house, went into locking, went into popping, and then went into breaking. All is one sequence that we basically spent 30 minutes practicing and learning, and then went right in front of people's parents in the other class, kids class, and performed it. So we're all kind of like, okay, not like one of the routines we've been working on for the last like 10 weeks or something. Let's do a new one. Ooh. But it was fun. That was a good time. And
that
then
wow.
in the West Coast Swing was, again, kind of the end of the year, so I got to see a lot of people, a lot of new people as well, so I'm hoping they come back after the new year to do some West Coast Swing. In fact, ran into a group of kids that had just wandered up from the bar below, in which I had no idea why they showed up at the Mercury Cafe where we do the West Coast Swing on Wednesday anyways, but they all had X's on their hands, so they must have been underage from drinking, because the rest of us, we don't have that. And it's admittedly at the thing, they have a restaurant downstairs that's very hippie to me, yuppie hippie, where it's very green, granola, all natural, kind of crazy, gluten-free, all the desserts, stuff like that. It's interesting place, decent food, but at the same time very hippie. And then next to it, they had this open mic where they do it every Wednesday night, where they have people that'll do everything from playing guitar, singing, slam poetry, you name it. Kind of just open mic, very... in a way, I want to say that piece is very beatnik hipster, like in a way I've never experienced anywhere else. So it's an interesting downstairs kind of thing, but you go upstairs, there's a big open dance floor. And that's where we host the West Coast Swing.
It's cool.
So we'd gone through our lesson, we were at the open dance part of the night, and several groups actually came up that I'd never seen before and weren't part of the West Coast Swing. They just heard music, so they kind of wandered up. And there's this group of young kids, essentially, like 5 or 6 of them, guys and gals, couples and such that are out there, who were just looking very lost around us and kind of ish dancing, where it's even they were young enough that I don't know if they really know how to dance at all, because they were just kind of doing like, hey, yeah, and kind of holding each other like, we're totally dancing. And so
exactly what I'll be doing at the reception.
So I went over them and I taught them West Coast Swing real quick, because I had taken what I've learned in all my intros, where I was like, all right, look, this is West Coast Swing. Have you ever heard about it? They're like, no, I have no clue what you're talking about. So I took them through some of the basics and was able to get these young couples to at least give it a go and kind of get back and forth and do some of it. So I felt pretty good, and it was nice because my instructors and the people that normally run it kind of gave me props like, hey, look at you trying to recruit new people in. And then we came up with a joke, and I don't know if it was this night or the week before, but the joke that we were posting around saying, every time you bring someone new into West Coast Swing, you get a virgin in heaven when you die. And so, just kind of ridiculous thing that was stated, but kind of went around as a meme that they started. So it's like, everybody, go recruit more people to come West Coast Swing. It was a good time. So, let's see. What else have I done this week? I will say Friday night I went out to local one of our little microbrew areas, because a friend of mine, I want a big shout out to my friend Kara. And unfortunately, I forget what name she went by on our show, but gal that was giving us some movie reviews back in the day. She'd done a RoboCop review for the new RoboCop. She'd done the one for, I forget which other one, but people seemed to really like the review she had written up for some of the movies. She's a big movie buff, big comic nerd. Give props because went to her sending off, because she is leaving us from the U.S. essentially to go serve out in Australia for the next 3 years for the military. And so won't be seeing her for some time. Although this works out because she becomes another person I know in another country, much like you again. So I'm going to, at some point, hopefully about a year from now, go visit her out in Australia. We'll make a point of like meeting up somewhere in the middle and go. She really wants to swim with sharks. So I don't know about that one, especially after watching game things like the stuff that Paz wants me to get with the game Depth. If you guys haven't seen that, it's essentially Evolved, but with sharks and divers. But even more so makes me not want to dive and run with sharks. I told her I'd go buy one of my brother's company's underwater subs, their little ROVs, the open ROV, and I'll fly it next to her underwater. I'll sit on the boat, and I'll fly the sub next to her, videoing her experience with the sharks versus me actually getting in the water. But so a big shout out to Kara. She also said that as she gets transitioned, she's hoping to find some time to get back and start doing movie reviews again, because it seemed like people really liked her opinion. So hopefully we'll get her back on. She was really disappointed that she hasn't been doing more for VTW. So thank you, Kara. Hopefully looking forward to that. Also, yesterday, I held a pajama party at my house. I hosted a pajama party.
I saw the photos and I thought, you dirty old rascal, Mr. Wayne.
Not at all, and it's funny how people jump into the conclusions that I must be doing something nefarious when I talk about, young nurses getting through a semester and wanting to celebrate and therefore coming to my house. Nothing like that. What it was is they had been posting on Facebook essentially that they were so happy to finish their semester of school that they now wanted to leave off some energy and some time and actually enjoy it and so celebrate a bit that they have this holiday break. And so I just kind of randomly threw up there because they said, we need a party. I was like, hey, you guys are welcome to come to my house. I said it kind of just like whatever. Like 5 minutes after I posted that, my friend that has gotten me into a bunch of this stuff called me up and said, so, party at your place Saturday, right? And I was kind of like, oh, okay, sure, let's do this. So, I threw it out there, and they absolutely picked it up and held me to it. So, threw out the party, invite to a bunch of people, and it was my friend Jamie who had kind of was setting up everything, was the one who said, well, I want a pajama party, darn it. If we're going to do this, let's do it this way. I was like, sure, it's your party. I'm just hosting it. So, I spent the couple days cleaning up the house, making it presentable, and they all showed up. It wasn't a huge party. It was kind of just a small group of people, but friends. They were all having a good time, and essentially we spent a majority of the time playing some Rock Band. Now, I do not have the Rock Band setup that my buddy Jason has, that has the full drum kit, the professional drum kit that's been converted to work with the system. So when I was looking through, I was kind of like, well, shoot, what do I do? And I went and found my little sad, came with the game 4-button basically drum set with the really terrible pedal and everything that was collecting so much dust in my in one of my rooms that when I pulled it out, I had to vacuum it off, then wash it, because it just looked like, man, this has been collecting dust for probably 2 or 3 years sitting here. But got it all cleaned up, plugged it all in, and it worked. I was like, yay! But then I ran into the challenge, so this is kind of bridging the gap a little bit, where unfortunately I couldn't find my disc for Rock Band 3. Like, I have the case, but there's no disc in it, and I was just infuriating. There's something about my personality, for people who don't know, that if I as eclectic and messy as my house can be at times, especially in my office, if you saw the entirety of my office, you'd be like, what the hell, how do you get anything accomplished in here? You know, you see a stack of papers and stuff behind me, it's like, I need to go through, and the problem is, I know every paper in the stack. I have this weird thing where I know where almost everything in my house is, every item of stuff I own. At least some little thing locked away in my head tells me I know it's over here. And so when I need to find something, I start go searching, and I usually can find it pretty quick, regardless of the turmoil that the house may look like it's in. I kind of have an idea. So when there's something like this where I have the case and I check each of my devices, like it's not in one of these and it didn't get stacked with another case that's sitting out here, or a stack of discs or something, look through them all and I can't find something that I know should be there, I get this little like rage in my head of, WTF, what is going on? I know exactly where that should be. Why isn't it where I expect it to be? Ah! And so I was just like losing my mind looking at options, and I was like, well, I could buy it digitally online and it's like $20. And then it's on my hard drive and I've got no problem. But I own it and I bought it, so why don't I have it? And I was just going nuts over it. Thankfully, my roommate was hosting a few people over at the house yesterday to play essentially 10 hours of Warframe. They were sitting in the basement all day doing their own little mini game fest. And one of the guys who was over, he's the guy we called Debibs. He had a copy. He's like, I don't play this anymore. Here, I'll go home and get it. And I was like, sweet, save me, because the gals coming over for the party really wanted to do karaoke. And for me, karaoke means Rock Band, because that way you don't just have to watch someone sing, you can actually play along and do other things and be more active. So I'm like all about it. So I had gotten it all set up and thankfully got everything together before they showed up. So it was all good. However, and I will go into that later a bit, the problem with the Rock Band, I guess I can say it here, is that they only have so many songs on the thing, and it's Rock Band 3 came out in 2012, and there hasn't been an update since, and I don't know if they're making an update from Harmonix, that makes the company that did it. And so, but they've really relied on DLC and all the music they've licensed for it. And I think when I went online to see all the music you could download, it's like 4,000 songs on their list that you can download. Yeah. And the average song you download is basically $2. So do the math on how much buying every DLC for it would cost. Exactly. Well, I started and I went in there, I was like, well, I know there's some songs these people will want to sing, so let me go ahead and prep by downloading a few. And I was surprised because I got on my Xbox Live account. I had $8 in it. I was like, what? I have no idea why I do, but hey, there's money there, so it's nothing I hadn't worried about. Let me buy a few songs. And I did that, and I bought some packs, like, Gorillas and some, like, I think I got all of No Doubt. Yeah. Things like that, because people who don't know, I sing the hell out of Gwen Stefani. That's my favorite karaoke. I get up there all high and falsetto-ish.
That's really funny.
It's bad. I sing more female songs on karaoke than I do guys. I'm really horrible that way.
Maybe I should take you to the gay bar when you're here then.
But I was going to say, Pink and Gwen Stefani are my favorite ones that I karaoke. it's bad. Yeah. Other than The Cure, I will sing the shit out of Robert Smith. I love The Cure. My favorite band. Anyhow, so I had downloaded some things. I ran into a point where I was like, I can't download this one. It goes over the cost of what I have left in my wallet. But I went to download and said, no problem. We'll just apply what you have left in there to that, and we'll put the rest on your PayPal that you've set up with us. And I was like, oh, crud. I did that? When did I do that? Well, that's enabling in a bad way. So I finished buying that, a few more, and I was like, maybe this was someone else's PayPal. How is this mine? I checked my email. Nope, sure enough, that's my PayPal. Yep, it's linked into my Microsoft account. Crap. And so I went through, and I need to check like my bank statement today, but after buying a bunch of things that way, and then during the party allowing other people to suggest songs like, we should totally do this or do this, we got to get Queen, we got to get this, and this is like, all right, go bye. I was like, yeah, I'm probably spent a good $100 on Rock Band yesterday.
You're kidding me. What the hell?
Oh boy, I need to play some more to make it worth it. Yep, that was bad. But it was a
my
good time.
God,
It was
dude.
a heck of a good time. But the nice thing is, as long as I keep a working PS or Xbox 360, since these are ones I got it on, I have all these songs I can continue to play. And one of my friends is, thankfully, another shout out to DeBeebs, because not only did he give me his copy of Rock Band 3 to play, since he said he hadn't played it for like a year or more, he also brought over his Pro guitar that he had for it, which is the ridiculous one that actually has simulated 6 strings, as well as the 6 strings, and it also has like frets. Every fret on the guitar, you'll appreciate this, Ken, has a button for every string.
Cool.
And so you essentially, this controller has some hundreds of buttons on it, and the way the game plays, it'll tell you like which fret you need to be on for which string that you need to play it on, and then you have to strum that string and that fret and hold it. Holy crud, is this insane to play. And so I was just going through the basics where if I stayed on a single string, I could kind of get down, but I mean, I was doing all right when it was all frets like 1 through 5 or something, because they're the bigger frets.
Yeah.
But much like a real guitar, as it gets to the narrow part of the neck or down closer to the strings, it gets much tighter frets. And so I was playing whatever song that was supposed to be easy on Pro Guitar, and it's using multiple strings, as well as it was dropping down to frets like 12, 13, 14 or something near the neck. And so I'm going for like 2, 3, 2, 3, 12. Holy crap, where is that? I'm trying to slide my finger down this thing. That click, 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 click. Nope, that's 10. I thought I was there. Nope, 11, 12. Nope, I missed the note. Crap! I mean, it was just so... I don't
Well, it's
understand
usually
how
got 2
people
dots
do
on it.
this.
It's really... That's how you usually tell.
Well, in this one, for every button fret you feel, it's a different button, so you can feel it as you slide down. But that's the thing.
Okay.
Because it's my first time ever messing with this thing, it was blow the brain. This is too difficult, but I look forward to maybe playing it some more, because I haven't played Rock Band for a while, and this might invigorate me. So,
we actually had one of those in high school 5 or 6 years ago. It was a digital guitar, and the idea is it's like a guitar but has digital input to a computer, like a MIDI keyboard.
Yep.
So you can actually just play the notes themselves into it, and then you can change what it sounds like through a computer and record it through a computer and so on and so forth. So
the digital or whatever, like I forget what that's called, but the digital effects amp essentially.
yeah,
which
yeah,
is
that
pretty
used to be a
darn
really
brilliant.
cool thing back in the day.
So yeah, I did all that, but Rock Band was a blast. It's fun, and I keep supporting it because there's no other thing out there. The other challenge, though, is because trying to go and purchase anything for the game now, you can't do locally. It's only available through online, and nobody makes new crap. And so I was trying to find like maybe a better pedal, because the one off the game is terrible, and I'm now spoiled by Jason's setup with the full kit, and I may have to go buy one of these days for $1,000, but.
Or hang
It's
out
like-
his from now on.
Yeah, well, and I could have, if I had coordinated earlier, I might have been able to get his, but I was like, I can do this. Anyhow, it's just, but nobody goes. I went to Best Buy, so big box stores. I went to like Walmart, went to the GameStop. Nobody even carried like extra guitars or the game itself, and so I was just kind of like, well, crud. How do you support something like this? So I'm hoping they'll come out with a version 4 here eventually, since there's new consoles, but I haven't heard a thing from them, so I'm kind of worried. We'll see.
I think that whole sort of thing died off when Guitar Hero 17 came out. And
Exactly.
Wasn't it like the Beatles one or something that bankrupted them or something? I don't know.
It might have been. I don't know. But it's just kind of like disappointing, because it is a lot of fun, and I still like those kind of games. Other things that came out of the party, I got my first experience with poutine. And I have to say it very specifically like that, because when I was drinking last night and saying it wrong, I was always saying poutine, and that's not at all what it is. Essentially, I don't know if you know this, Ken, but it's a dish made by the Canadians, which copy says is the primary reason for their obesity. And it's one of their national dishes they love, which essentially is a pie tin. We didn't do it right. We did an Americanized version because we didn't have it swimming in the gravy. But a pie tin with what you would appreciate as being chips. So with French fries essentially laid out in it, covered with gravy and filled with cheese melted all over it.
Oh wow, that sounds amazing.
And so that's the issue. It is quite lovely, and nothing about it is healthy or good for you other than it tastes amazing. And so
Here's a question for you, actually. I'm sorry, it's a little bit of another
Go
tangent
ahead.
here. Do you chicken tikka masala? Is that a thing in the U.S.?
I have no idea what that is.
It's an Indian curry.
So we have curry, and we have lots of different times, but that specifically I've never heard of.
Because apparently it was made in Scotland, and people everyone in the UK thinks that it's like an Indian meal, and apparently half of the Indian meals around here are things that are made in Britain. That we all think is Indian. So I was just curious if it managed to reach over there.
We have the same issue with all of our Mexican food, right? so many people consider what we call Mexican food.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, it's Mexican food, right? It's like, no. What we have is Tex-Mex. It's essentially things that were inspired by the relationship of Mexico to Texas here in the United States. So the proximity, they're very close together. So you get some of the culture spilling over and the thoughts and kind of the taste spilling over, but it's not at all traditional Mexican cuisine. And so when you actually see it, you're like, oh, this is completely different. And so what we did is we Americanized a lot of Spanish or a lot of Mexican cuisine, and we call it Mexican food. And we've been doing it for so many years that Mexican restaurants here have to have these kind of dishes that are really Tex-Mex to be considered Mexican, because that's what Americans think of when they say Mexican food. You know, much like how you had when we went out there and had tacos, you know, and burritos and such. Tacos by default are not really Mexican. They're a bastardization Tex-Mex kind of thing, because while Mexicans will use tortillas as flatbread type thing, they use it as bread. They don't make sandwiches out of it like we do with the burritos and tacos quite the same. And Mexican cuisine will involve a lot of seafood. In America, we don't do that. We do mostly chicken and beef kind of things. But a lot of Mexico is coastal, because the middle of the country not as many people, and so they eat a lot of fish. And that's just something that you don't think of when you think of Mexican food. Things like that. It's crazy, right? So it's totally different in the way we do things. I like how Stoner's sitting there. What's a taco? You miss out for that, yes. Oh, nice.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he says in IRC. And then Kur0 in the IRC said, I made some poutine for a nerd dinner party. It was awesome. So yes, unfortunately, Copy, we don't have true poutine here, but we do make an Americanized version. We try our best. And it's still good, but I am curious. If I ever do make it up, like if I make it up for Anime North or something like that, you will have to introduce me to what true poutine is, so I know. And I know it's regional and that there's all kinds of different flavors of it, but I'd have to know.
That's another thing we have to get you to eat while you're here is Scottish fish and chips from a chip shop. That's one of the best things you can have here.
You say that, but I dislike fish, and so I don't know if I can like.
It doesn't have to be fish. I was going to say traditional that fish, but there's also black.
I
pudding,
would like to get.
haggis.
Oh God, no! All of that sounds horrible. What are you doing to me, Ken?
So good.
No, black pudding is disgusting. What?
Oh, so good.
Don't say that. Oh God, that's so gross. But I don't know. I'd be willing to taste some things. I don't know if I'm going to order anything too crazy as a meal. Otherwise, I may be sorely disappointed. But I will give it a go.
You won't.
In fact, I will taste fish and chips. If someone else orders it, I will take a piece to see what I think of it. But I'm not going to rely on that for a meal. Otherwise, I may be very disappointed and hungry. So I am worried and scared about things like that. We shall see. So
I promise you're going to enjoy it. Anyway, sorry to interrupt you. You were talking about
that's what I say. So I had poutine in American style. It was fun. It was tasty. Also, one of the friends who had come over and was the primary person who had kicked off the event, she got all, as we'll say, all Pinterest on us, in that she doesn't normally bake from recipes or cook from recipes, kind of just throws things together, but had gotten into Pinterest and used it as a bunch of examples of things she could do, and came up with 2 amazing dishes. One of which I can only I called it bacon wraps. Essentially, what it was like a Pillsbury croissant, like bake thing that you get out of the tin, and it opens up and you lay it out. Wrapping bacon on it, covering it with some rosemary and other herbs and spices, kind of thing, and then baking the whole thing. And so, ending up with this little spiral roll of a baked croissant with bacon in it, with all these herbs on it. And OMG, that was some tasty stuff. Along with that, also made what I will call popcorn delight, which is essentially a big thing of popcorn mixed with, I don't know what kind of, it was like marshmallow fluff, as well as pretzels and M&Ms and other things like that, but it was delightful. And so just had some great food along with the whole event, as well as a friend who brought chicken and booze, and it was just a good night.
Fantastic.
Oh, and it was another thing where I also had picked up some supplies because I had to pick up some things that I'm going to import with me to Scotland as long as they make it through customs just fine. We'll see. But spent some money on that, and so I can't wait to provide that for you. We'll see. But while doing so, I also picked up some stuff for myself, and one of which was, much like you appreciate, Ken, the Kraken. Because, you know, I love me some rum and don't have any in the house, so I had to get some more.
Don't worry, we still have some left here.
Well, so I picked up some Kraken, and as I was going through looking at the various different alcohols like that, I started to realize why I do appreciate Kraken so much, which I have been consuming today, is that unlike many of spiced rum, this one has some get to it. It's essentially 98 proof, And so it's 48%, 49% alcohol. And where most spice rums I saw were probably half that. And so I was like, oh, maybe this is why I appreciate the Kraken so much for its good value and such in price.
Yeah.
And yet tasty. So, yeah. All right.
Very
That is
tasty.
pretty much what I've been up to. And it was a good time. And I'm not quite recuperating from it today, although we were up to like 4 in the morning watching, you know, at the end of the nights tend to be now, watching YouTube videos and things like that, which, there's one that if anybody is really, really brave, check out, oh gosh, what's his name? Was it Boy... It's like Boy Rap or Boy Rock or something like that. It's just bad. I really shouldn't even put it out there. You can find the equivalent or someone else that he works with is called Rap Girl, and yeah. I want to say it may go viral. It's terrible. The reason the guy got famous is only because his song was featured in a video that a pole dancer had put out there. This really drugged out, really tattooed, really waif of a crack whore looking pole dancer had put out a video where she was working out in her backyard and dancing around. Very talented, able to dance. But the song played, you're like, what the heck is that? And so then I went back and through my friend Jamie, showed us the original video, and this guy is, I don't know, there's not many words. It kind of lingers back to an earlier discussion we had, but yeah, just interesting. And I'm kind of scared to throw it out there, but just, yeah. Wow, I'm seeing all kinds of people coming up with recipes with the Kraken. Let's see, it says, I made a Kraken pecan pie from Kur0. That actually sounds amazing. So much like you were talking about pecan, or wait, how'd you say it? Pecan or something pie? Pecan pie, yeah, so pecan pie with Kraken. That sounds lovely. Also saying Kraken-soaked Twinkies. Copy says Kraken butter tarts. Holy cow. I didn't realize you could do so many things like that. Oh, listen to you guys. Talk about Fork as though she's legal. Fork is older than you would expect. So bad. Anyhow. So yeah, the Kraken. Bring it out. All right. As much as we've spent this much time talking about dysfunctional deviations, it feels like we need to really linger with each other, Ken, and talk just life in general so we can start focusing more on topics and get through stuff faster.
I know.
Because it's going to be interesting jumping into the break with this. But we do have some Geek cred to go, and we do have some emails. So let's try to get this in before the break, switch things over.
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
And with the Geek cred today, we have 2 emails, so perfect. Start out saying the one that I have from the one and only Will. Ken, do you want to take this one, or should I?
Yeah, sure, I can do just that. So the subject title is Retail Sucks! Moving on! Now, due to me going into work at 8 p.m. CST, I'll be here for the show, but I've got to catch up on some sleep due to me having a rough night. But here's the semi-weekly copy mail. Yeah,
Nice,
I
copy
realize
mail.
it's not as cute to say as copy mail, but it was worth a try, right? I had been
Well
invited by the almighty Copy to go to Anime North in 2015, but there's a little snag. That would be insanely dumb not to go for. I was invited to go to Japan with plane and hotel paid for.
Oh,
just
are
eat
you
food
kidding?
and entertainment. Oh yeah.
Duh.
Oh yeah.
Duh.
Yeah, there's no question there. Well, a good choice. And no, I won't be stopping at the panty vending machines, so you say. So you can stop thinking that you pairs. Yeah, you're gonna go to one of those Japanese hugging places instead, where you can pay a girl like $2,000 to hug you for the night.
Yeah.
Just hold me.
Wow.
Just hold me.
Doesn't sound sad at all.
Well, some people. Think of all people out there who have never kissed a girl, never held a girl. I think that's a lovely idea. I think it's a sweet version of prostitutes. Like, it is, isn't it? It's like there's
Hey,
no
if I'm paying
entry, there's
$2,000,
no-
I'm sorry. Hugging is not the thing I'm paying for. Just
Some
saying.
would, though.
No,
Hey, if
after
people buy
that,
it, then it can't be bad to sell.
I need to experience far more new things than hugging at that kind of price check. I need to kind of blow my mind to the point of I didn't know you could physically do that. If it's that kind of paycheck, no.
Anyway, on to my totally unrelated geeky question. I've recently got a 2DS, and I'm thinking about getting a new game tomorrow. So, the issue I have is, should I get the new Smash game, or get another game like Persona Q? Personas suck because it's anime. Keep it rocking. Cup check.
Yeah, where's Ari to yell at you for that one? So I don't unfortunately have an answer because you're talking about an entire culture of things with Nintendo that I don't understand. However, we have a great support network for that, so Copy, much as I had asked, you can continue to jump in there and let people know about all the amazing things you can get on the Nintendo platform with a DS of some sort, and which games are good. The only ones that I've heard, of course, is the Super Smashes are always popular, and a lot of the people on my feeds have talked back in the day a little bit, and as well as I think it got ranked as one of the Game of the Years for the 3DS, is Bravely Default, which is very much a Final Fantasy-esque game. And so you might want to check that one out. I've heard very many good things. But beyond that, I don't have the experience, so I can't say. Ken, do you have any insight?
I don't have much experience with either, to be honest, because Nintendo and anime. So...
Well, it's just the DS as a platform. A DS as a platform, because that's the thing. I don't know.
I think the DS is a good purchase in general because, you know, I like the idea of having a handheld console. I mean, my phone meets my needs most of the time, but I understand the apps aren't necessarily the way to go with a lot of things. They're not dedicated gaming devices ever, so, you know, they're not as good as having something dedicated to gaming. And, hey, if that's the kind of gaming you're into is Nintendo and that kind of thing, then great, 2DS, go for it. Personally, for me, I would never pick up a 2DS, other than possibly Animal Crossing. That's kind of...
Yeah.
The addictiveness of that kind of appeals to me, so I've been tempted by that, but that's the only thing I gotta say. Nothing else. So
gotcha.
Hey, hope you enjoyed it.
But at the same time, I'd say feel free to like post something on the forums and kind of ask the question, because I would like to know what's good gaming on a DS platform, on basically the prominent multiplayer, or not multiplayer, but mobile platform that's out there other than phones. Because as much as there are good games on smartphones these days, it's just not a device built for that kind of interface, and so it's not the same as having a dedicated player. It really isn't. All right, another email that we have, this one coming in as our weekly copy mail. Thank you very much, Copy, for giving it to us. I know you always say, I've not done anything, but we need your copy mails. All right, starts out. Dear Wayne and Lord, or Dr. Lord, Reverend, and Bachelor of Science, Kenneth Neal Reed II. I don't have a mail, but Mr. Wayne wants updates, so here's my ramble. As people may or may not know, the Chibi and I are doing some Phantasy Star Online cosplay. Chibi will be Eleanor, her favorite Rascaceel? Oh, see, I do not know these things, so what I'm saying is horrible. And she is providing with us essentially ads to show, or not ads, sorry, links to show what it is that they will be cosplaying. And I will be Lantis, my Fomar. Yes, I do not know what these characters are. All right, but putting these on in the IRC so everyone else can see the pictures. And I think you guys will do an awesome job as both. Except with the green dress and much longer hair. Let's see, he's so pretty. I have been playing much PSO to, quote, obtain costume references. Yes, that's exactly what I've been doing. I've also bought so much foam you don't even know. Unless you're on the video wall, next stop is my hometown. Specifically to Home Depot for PVC pipes and bungee cords. Supplies for my digitigrade legs. Time to put my engineering skills to the test. More on that next week. Then I'll actually have stuff built and hopefully in the early test phases. Also, Smash 4 is still gaining momentum. Charlie wants me to learn how to play on a competitive level. Yikes. Because he wants to win. At this point, I'm not much better an opponent than the sandbag. What? That's all for now. Much love and Merry Christmas from the original copy. I can't say you'd ever be considered just a sandbag. That sounds so inappropriate, Copy. I disagree. But yes, looking in the Google Hangouts, what would normally be considered a bed looks like it is nothing but a storage facility for foam for Miss Copy, because she is working on an epic cosplay project that I do know about, but until she reveals, I myself will not say more about. So good luck on that. I can't wait to see. Very much. Thank you very much for that, Copy. Let's see. So I'm trying to think. We don't really have time to jump into our Geek Cred quite yet, do we? I'm trying to decide as I need to.
Not really. Let's just go for the break. It'll probably be easier.
All right, should probably do a break. So with that, let me go in here and find some music that is appropriate to play for the break. Oh, you know what? I think we have basic. Yeah, we have permission. So let us go with. What was that, Ken?
I was yawning. I'm allowed to yawn. It's been a long weekend of receptions and stuff.
Yes, this is true. Getting ready for all of the entertaining of family and friends, which By the way, because Kitten Future's family is going to be there as well, right?
Yeah.
This is going to be quite the event. Wow. Basically, a lot of people I've only seen once or twice. So it should be good times and good fun. All right. Well, we are going to listen to, during the break, one of our friends of the show and who we interview. We're going to listen to some more Brad Sucks. So check out everything he does. We love him for some pod-safe music and things like that. He is the man. So we'll be back right after this with a little more Geek Cred before we get into the Geekoscope this week. So enjoy this from Brad Sucks, and we will be back. Thank you very much.
Send in your emails to showx@vtwproductions.com.
Versus the World production would like to thank JetBit Software for the use of RSS Feed Creator. This show has its RSS feed created and maintained by RSS Feed Creator, with its easy-to-understand interface and ability to upload all with a simple click. You can't make it any easier. Try out all their awesome software at www.jitbit.com or see the link on our front page at vtwproductions.com.
Hey, this is John DiMaggio. You're listening to vtwproductions.com. So don't stop listening. Continue to listen. Why are you not listening? Wait a minute. What?
You're listening to ShowX on vtwproductions.com.
Hey everybody, and welcome back to the show. So we are going to continue with our Geek Cred for the week. Ken, what have you been doing geek-related this week? What have you done to basically level up?
Right now I'm trying not to sneeze, but let's see if I can do this. Oh jeez, okay. Talking about professional radio.
Hey, this is why I keep reaching for that mute button in front of my mic when I was hacking and coughing at the beginning of the show.
I was hovering over it there just in case, but okay. So I'll do the lull thing first. Get over that, over and done with it, because that's just getting boring. I know, guys. So I'll do that quickly. I've been playing League of Legends, believe it or not. Played a little bit of ranked, gone to my next promotional, but I'm too afraid to play it again, so I've avoided it. So I'm probably just gonna get put back down to Bronze 3 again. I've been playing Snowdown, the new game mode available.
The new ARAM map edition or mod that they're doing for this holiday season, which is interesting.
Murder Bridge game mode. It's basically ARAM, except you choose your champions, but your summoner spells are fixed. One of them makes you throw a Poro, which does true damage, and then if you press the same spell again, if it hits, you can fly to where it hit. And the second spell, well, we'll get to that in a second. If you hit enough Poros, and your whole team does, say they hit 10 enemy champions with their Poros, then they summon the Poro King. The Poro King is a giant Poro with a crown and a cape, and it's awesome. And it runs around throwing Poros around at enemies, healing your allies, and giving them mana as well. And tanking like hell, because it doesn't do much damage, but it does take a lot of it, which is useful for tower diving and stuff. So, it's pretty much, and the next summoner spell flies you to the Poro King. So, you throw Poros, you get a big giant Poro, and you can fly to the giant Poro. That's kind of the base tactics there. That means everybody has a bit of poke, and I think, this is a bit of speculation on my part, but what I think they're doing is there's been a problem as of late where a lot of ranged characters and champions can really kite melee people around quite well. I mean, if you're melee and you don't have any method of jumping to somebody, like say if you're Kha'Zix, you've got no problem. But say you're just, I don't know, like Udyr or Tryndamere, and you've got like little things that can get you a little bit closer, but you can't really zoom over there. So, I think what they're trying out is seeing if getting a way for them to fly straight to the enemy champion through a summoner spell is
if it's a viable thing, or if it's broken. Because essentially what this has done for game mode, it's a lot of fun. You know, you get 10 hits of the Poros on enemy champs, and it allows you to summon the Poro King, who's essentially a big tank of a unit. Doesn't really do a ton of damage other than the AoE, wow, Poros that fly off of it that do actually decent damage, but the actual King itself barely does damage when it hits you. But it's just a big tank, but it allows you to push tower and do things like that. So I agree, it could be something they're doing in test, because if you hit with the Poro, you can follow that Poro up to go right directly to the champ that you hit. The challenge with it, though, is that essentially it allows an entirely different gameplay for melee champs, being able to close distance, have a range type thing, which could be a game thing they throw in there, could be interesting. The other side, though, at least in the Snowbound map that I have found is kind of broken, is that because it takes away your summoner spells, you can't run an exhaust anymore. And so in an ARAM, not having an exhaust means certain characters, like Ys, Fioras, and such like that are either reset champs or have the ability to bounce around and do a ton of damage by getting close, you can't really counter them. And so playing that mode, I've had a Fiora come in and just wreck us to no good level, where there was nothing to stop him or stop the person playing, because you couldn't exhaust them to take away their damage, so they could just do their little leap to you, use the ult, go untargetable, do a ton of damage, come out and continue doing damage, and you couldn't stop it. You had to everyone focus that character, which meant you were open to everyone else attacking you. So while interesting and fun, there are some definite broken characters. Now on that note, they do at least let you do the banning phase. And so you get to ban 3 characters from each team. And so there are tunes you can focus out. Things like a Galio, who could suddenly land a Poro toss, follow it in across the map almost, and then ult right in the middle of everybody, right?
Or so there Tryndamere, doing more than tower diving, flying in, doing tons of crit damage, surviving through his ult, then flying back to the Poro King with his other spell.
Oh, it's crazy. So yeah, and that's the other key, having the Poro King to fly to as well, so that, which is twofold. One, if you're in combat and you kind of get deep away from the Poro King, you can revert right back. As long as he's summoned, you can jump right back to the Poro King. The other example, though, is if you die and you come back out of the pool, if the Poro King is halfway down the lane or in their base, you can just, instead of having to run down the whole lane, you can use that summon and go directly to the Poro King and brings you right back into the action. So there's a lot of ways you can use it for major gain. So it's interesting.
Oh, yeah, adds in a new level of tactics, and it gives an even playing field in some ways, because every single person has a cool escape now, and I like that. It's good fun to try that sort of thing out. So, it's a good fun little thing, and you get icons for it, and if you use one of the icons that you unlock by playing the game, in that game mode, your Poros that you summon can look evil and be black and furry.
See, I haven't even played with those
eyes.
yet. I haven't done those yet. But yeah, there's a bunch of different things, because League has gotten big on skinning everything in the game, all the way down to your wards,
By the way,
Teemo's
calling
mushrooms, to you name it.
I'm calling this early because I saw it on Reddit the other day, and it was speculation, but I think it's going to happen. Entire UI skins for RP or IP. It's going to happen. I'm calling it, because think of all those streamers out there who do it already. And plus, they just implemented it into this Snowdown one for the first time ever. It's like it's just a little bit crisper and some snow and just a little bit, but it looks really nice. So I can see them quite easily doing that. Plus, in the survey they sent out last week to a bunch of people, I found it in my spam folder. It said, would you be willing to pay money for this? And I thought, they're doing it. They're going to do it.
Hey, again, all the ways they can make money without it being something you have to do. That's just for show.
All for it.
I'm
totally
basically okay with that. So yeah, interesting. And we will see how that all goes.
Indeed. Indeed. Yes, so other than League of Legends, what else have I been up to? Something a little bit different. I've been trying out this app. Now, to be fair, I played it on PC before.
Okay.
And it was very early beta, I think it was. I'm not sure. When I played it, and it was alright. I thought I had a good start, but it really felt like a start. Goddess or Godus or God Us, I don't know. It's Godus.
Yes.
It's actually an English game, British-based developer. Like I said, I wasn't sure what to expect from the app on the phone. I thought I'd try it because I'm looking for games on my phone at the moment, and I'm quite pleasantly surprised, except for the pay model. Yeah, so their payment model, like a lot of things like Candy Crush and stuff, it's like you pay 69 pence and you get the next 30 levels unlocked. And that's effectively paying for content, right? And I'm kind of okay with that in a sense.
Gotcha.
They also allow you to get through it by inviting friends, so that's kind of fair. But this game, Godus or whatever it is, if you want to get these diamonds, these gemstones, which are used for quite a bit of stuff in the game, you have to spend something like £3 for 30, which is very high. So if you spend like £60, you get like 400 or something. It's minimal, and it's so surprising because most of these games you put in £50 and then they're like, hey, take the game. You've done it.
Essentially, you've now purchased the entire game. Enjoy.
Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Makes sense, but at the same time, I'm still playing it. The pay model is annoying, but you can play without delving into it. You actually do unlock diamonds through the gameplay or gems through the gameplay anyway. They're just not exactly common, let's say. It takes a bit of time to get to them. Whereas the gems are basically used to unlock people's happiness, which is useful to prevent some of your guys getting taken away once a day, or you steal another tribe's guys once a day. And the idea of this whole game, I kind of should probably mention, is a god sim, as you may have guessed from the title. The idea is you're a god and you have a tribe, and I can feel the inspiration from Populous spreading through. I quite like that. You collect belief from the huts, and you use that as your sort of mana. And then you can do godly things with them. You can be a good god, an evil god, depending on what you do, depends on how happy your people are, depending on how happy your people are, depends whether they stay with you or go elsewhere. And I'm impressed by the size of the maps as well. They're quite large. You unlock it as you go, you sort of make them prey to these totems, and they eventually unlock new areas around the original map. So overall, I'd say I'm giving it a good 8 or 7 out of 10. The only thing holding back is the pay model. That is just ridiculous. Even if it was cheaper, I'd be happy. But that price range is just ridiculous. So, yep. And also, my Nexus 6, by the way, I'm still enjoying it.
Nice.
It's a pretty phone. It's a pretty phone.
It's
I look forward to
interesting.
hearing
Yeah, no, it's interesting how with the new tech and stuff, how you get that sense of, oh, this is neat, this is pretty, or this or that, and kind of the opinions on these new tech coming out. But yes, you're saying you're interested. Yes, I have updates to talk about on my end. What else have you been doing?
I touched on WoW. I got the 10-day free trial, and I played it for about an hour, and then I'm done.
Nice.
So.
Well, it's funny because
I am flying around on my mount right now, though, to be fair. I'm literally just going in circles, because for some reason I used to do this all the time in the show. I'd literally just sit in Orgrimmar and fly in a giant circle for 2 hours. I don't know why.
Interesting. Okay. That I have no idea. No answer for. That's funny. So for me, I still have my WoW account active, and I think I missed my date for when I should have deactivated it, so I think I have another month going. Which is terrible, right? Because I haven't played lately because of schedules and such, and then I'm going to be out of town again, so why do I have it? So I just need to hurry up and suspend it so I can stop wasting money on the game. And it's not that it's a bad game. Like I said, I've played it, revitalized, and the game's fine. It is what it is. But it's not for me. And unless I am playing with people I enjoy playing with that are entertaining and make the game more than just what the content is, I'm not going to keep playing that game and spend money on it. Again, I go back to if Blizzard had a model where, because I've been around the game for years and years and years, that it kept reducing my monthly subscription cost, I would maybe keep it. But for essentially the $12 to $15 a month that it is, which is still what it's always been for a decade, I cannot justify keeping an account active on WoW. So I'm going to let it go. Simple as that. Anyhow, so my geek cred for the week. I would like to say that I've done a pretty good job this week, and I think I have some solid geek cred to speak of. I want to start it out with what I did on Monday. And so for many people that are realizing, around this month, a new movie came out this week that a lot of geeks have been excited for. Well, this movie came out Wednesday, and essentially it is the new Hobbit movie that has come out. The new Peter Jackson, the final of the 3 Hobbit renditions he's made. And what I had an opportunity to do with some friends here is on Monday, so 2 days before the release, a few theaters around town, and apparently a lot around the country here in the United States, were running a special event where you could pay a large sum of money, not stupid amount, but reasonable for what you're getting. For me, it was about $35. Essentially, it turned into a marathon of watching all 3 Hobbit movies in a row. And so I went to one of our local IMAXs, so these massive screens that are out there with the huge sound systems, really wonderful experience kind of thing for a theater, and went up to it, and we watched all 3 Hobbit movies sequentially. Thankfully, there were half-hour breaks in between each, because essentially we started at 12:30 in the afternoon and went till 9:30 in the evening.
Oh, that's awesome, dude. That's so cool.
It really was a marathon experience. And it was neat because they went in there, they gave us a movie poster for going to the show. They gave us a little lanyard that had a graphic from the movie poster on it, saying that the experience we were going through and the times of each of the movies starting. And we got access to the theater. So for us, it was $35, but the one I saw, it was in IMAX. It was also in the high frame rate, so the 48 frame per second view of it, and in 3D. So it was like the entire maximum experience and things like that. And normally an IMAX movie here will be like $15 by itself just to get in. So the fact that this one was $35 for all of them, I thought was not bad.
Yeah,
now,
very nice.
Unfortunately, we had technical difficulties because the middle movie, what they do is the new movies, when they're distributed to most theaters, they're done digitally, and so they're kind of set through this VPN that allows them to transfer all the data. And these being IMAX high frame rate movies in 3D, I think each movie was weighing in somewhere around 4 terabytes of data or something like that, or however many terabytes of data for a movie. Well, they downloaded them the night before. However, the person running the theater was very generous in how he explained things. He came out and said, we have an issue. The last 2 movies were corrupted. So the second and third movies are corrupted. We have the first one, it's ready to go, and we'll start it on time. We were starting the second one, downloading again, but we figured you're really here most worried about the third one. So what we did is we basically, and I'm assuming this part, we sent someone home to run and grab their Blu-ray of the second movie. They brought it back. We hooked up a Blu-ray player to the projector. We'll play the second one in Blu-ray. It won't be as nice, won't sound as good. But instead of trying to download the second one and getting it done in time and having to wait, we'll focus on downloading the third one, the new movie, having it ready to go so that when we finish, you'll be ready to play it.
And they give you any free drinks or anything for that as well?
What they did is they gave us 2 free passes to come back to new movies for the next year essentially.
wow.
For
That's
over a year,
really
we got
good.
2 free passes to come see another movie. So all of us were kind of like, cool, we're good with it. Now, he did give us an option. He said for the second movie, if we didn't want to do the Blu-ray, we could have gone to another theater, changed theaters, and watched it in 3D regular movie quality versus the IMAX. But we were all lazy, didn't want to change seats, so we had voted as a group to stay where we were, stay put and enjoy it. And honestly, it was fine. The sound was a little quieter, so everyone had to be a little more silent as we watched it to hear it right, because it wasn't going through all like 20-something speakers that the IMAX had.
Yeah.
It only came through the front like couple, but it was a lot of fun. And then the third movie, the third movie came on, watched that, enjoyed that. It was nice because in our theaters, I don't know if yours is similar, they do these ridiculous things where they make most money off concession. And so for us, we finally, as a group of like 5 of us, we ordered the giant tub o buttered popcorn, which I mean is massive, right? This thing, the tubs are stupid. They should not make popcorn this big. But because we were there for 9.5 hours or so, or 9 hours, we filled that thing 3 times, because they also give you free refills on like the maximum sodas and the maximum popcorns. So this is like the first time I think I've ever got my money's worth, because I filled up my soda at least twice, and I filled up the popcorn. We filled that tub up like 3 times, and we're divvying it out to everybody in the thing. So
sure they don't do that with cocktails.
no, and although this theater did have cocktails, which was pretty nice. Oh, let's see. So I'm looking at what Kur0's saying. He's filling us in some of the details that I didn't really have, saying real IMAX is film, so you can't real IMAX digital. True. It says, yes, which resolves out to like 52 megapixels, which totally owns 4K. Yeah, well, because again, these were filmed in 4K, so it says real IMAX is like 7K, which, yeah, IMAX film is ridiculous because it's the large format digital, or not digital, but just regular film. IMAX being experienced, but also the sound, the screen, all of it being really neat. High resolution. The 5 frame rate was an interesting experience. For the first like 20-30 minutes, a little jarring, but then getting into it with the 3D, it actually looked really nice. And so the initial scene with the Hobbit, where it's essentially Desolation and Smog, so it's coming in after that with the 5 armies, so it's right where Desolation ended with Smog flying to Rivertown to take it out. This is the beginning sequence, is him taking out Rivertown, and that was pretty stunning. Overall review of the movie, I know a lot of people who hated it.
Spoiler alert.
But it did. I enjoyed the film. Now, some of it was because of the overall marathon experience, and surprisingly, 9 hours in the theater did not kill me. But at the same time, Peter Jackson made some decisions that changed things from the book, and I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to what's been written, and I'm not a big fan of things being manipulated or changed from the original story. And especially since Tolkien's gone, right? So it's not like he had input into it to say, like, no, this is really how I envisioned it. None of that crap. So I was disappointed with some of the changes. I was disappointed with some of the focus, where I thought more could be done about the whole point of having 5 armies fighting. Because I felt like they introduced some of the armies, and then they didn't really discuss when the other armies joined the fight. And they went to the kind of individual battles with main named characters, versus showing the big melee that was occurring as a whole. And so they touched on it. It was fun. There was some silliness, much like the barrel riding in the second movie. There was silliness, and Legolas still gets way too much screen time. But at the whole, I did enjoy it. So that was just me. But, yep. So that little bit, but I think that counts as a little bit of geek cred, because the nice thing is I also got to see the third movie on Monday, so 2 days before anybody else.
That is also cool. No, essentially it was totally worth it, even with the... In fact, especially with the problems with the second movie. I think they were better off now, to be honest. So, congratulations. That's great, dude.
Well, and the guy had given us the credit where if he couldn't get the third movie down in time, so we had to watch it in like a regular mode, he was going to refund all of our tickets. The entire cost of what we had spent for the day. So we were just like, dude, you're good. We're awesome. So it was all good, but I did enjoy it. All right.
So before you go on, speaking of this sort of thing and being problems, me and my parents went to a restaurant yesterday, one we've been to very frequently. It's literally next door. You will probably go at some point while you're here.
Okay.
Known as Grill in the Park. And the place has been fantastic. They got great prices on drinks and food, and the food's fantastic. They got an Indian guy and like an Italian guy working there, like from those countries. So they've got genuine, authentic food from the countries. Really good stuff. And like I said, great value and everything. So we decided to go with our normal sort of selection of like a 3-course meal deal thing. And the only problem is, we got steaks for the first time, and we always saw them being quite big, and they always come out with like the smoke coming off them, and the big platter still sizzling. We're always kind of impressed by the look of it. But my mother ordered well done, and when she bit into it, blood ran out.
Oh, that's not well done at all.
that made her sick and put her off. And it came with a big gravy thing, and so the blood went into the gravy, and she couldn't eat the rest of her meal. And that's just like, if it's just cooked a little bit overdone or whatever, that's not too bad. And ours were a little bit. You guys say gristly, don't you? That's the word you use for having tough meat.
Yeah, gristly is a good thing for it being tough or just something like that.
Because we use gursel, which is weird. It's kind of similar, gursel. Okay. But we were discussing this the other day as well. Anyway, so with all those problems put together, we were a little bit annoyed with our meal. So he complained, and we got like vouchers back and stuff. So it's the first time I've ever actually complained at a restaurant, and I felt so bad because I go there so often. I was like, well, I'm really sorry to say it. I'm really sorry, but
but that's the thing. You support them enough that there's a certain level of quality that you expect, and so when you don't receive that service, you kind of think, is it worth my money, right? That's fine. I mean, unfortunately, as Americans, we're like,
that's quite common over there. But I felt bad, and the woman said straight away, "No problem, I'll go tell the chef." And then she came over and said, "He'll be with you shortly." And I was like, "Oh no, man! They're sending the chef." I thought that was over the top to me, and the owner came over as well and apologized. I was like, "Geez, that was clearly not used to people complaining." But they gave us vouchers, and they apologized profusely, and they said sometimes steaks are quite difficult to do, and different sizes, different understanding. It's a bit tough to do sometimes.
The key is y'all just need to be like America, where we cook steak all the time for every meal. That way, it's not something foreign to us. It's like our everyday thing.
Yeah. Steak salads and the like.
Hey, we have those.
no vegetables, yeah.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, sorry, I thought I'd share that tidbit of dysfunctional deviation to throw in there.
Nice. Oh, that's unfortunate, especially with good steak. All right, so the other big thing I've been doing for my Geek Cred this week is I have been picking up technologies. I've been prepping for a few things, but what happened is if one of the friends I have, who I've met more recently through Lieutenant Fork, one of the platinum / diamond level LOL player that I know, he put out a post just randomly on his Facebook saying that he was kind of trying to pare down some old technology I hadn't been playing, since he's primarily doing PC gaming. Makes sense. And so it just happened to be that when he put out this ad, it fit a need I kind of have, and so I went and was able to acquire some new tech from him. What I ended up doing is he was saying like, anybody want this, that? Some people would give him responses. I was kind of like looking like, actually that fits almost an exact desire or need I want. So I was kind of like, how much for everything? And it worked out. And I want to say like how much it was. Well, doesn't matter. So what I'm going to do is for people
Are you spending too much money again, sir?
Always. Isn't that how things do? So for certain audience members that might be able to recognize this, we'll see if they can catch what it is I ended up getting myself. And so for the first one, I'll see if it'll come through the speakers just fine or not. Come on. Be faster, technology. I'm sure there are people out there who will recognize this. I'm not sure if everyone will or not, but because it's an intro screen from a game.
I recognize that.
What do you think it is, Ken? I like how you're sitting there worrying. I'm waiting for someone to see if they can, give them the 30-second delay from what we're doing to see if they can post in. But for those otherwise who are playing along, if you watch the video, you'll be able to see it. See, copy is like right away, like, bam, wait, what? And so on the video wall, yes, I was able to acquire, because I keep going back and forth that I wanted one, just because it seems like everyone I know has a 3DS. And so I picked one up for a damn good price. And the reason I got it was mostly for the idea that I will be able to use this on the plane as I travel out there. And so I got it because it's basically a dedicated gaming system, right? And so the nice thing about that is it will allow me to probably live through the entire plane flight of, I don't know how many hours it is, like 8 or 9 direct hours on the first flight and then layover and more hours after that. But the other thing is, and I guess really helped my friend there. So the one that I got there, this one came with the Pokemon Y, I guess, which is a fairly newer version. I don't know. There's so many out there I can't keep up. But so I got a little XL and a good price for it, I will say, because I got it as a bundle with another PlayStation 3. I got both of them basically for a really decent price. And the PlayStation 3 is mostly because my original backwards compatible one has flaked out on me. And so I'm without a Blu-ray player. And so he was getting rid of his as well. It's one of the newer Slims. So I was like, screw it, I'll get that as well. But along with the 3DS, he gave me his case and everything, as well as basically all his games. So I think I did very, very well here. And so what I also got with it, not only did I get Pokemon Y, I got Final Fantasy Tactics A2. I got Super Smash Brothers for 3DS. I got Paper Mario Sticker Stuff, or Sticker Star, sorry. It's hard to read some of these. I got Tales of the Abyss. I got Rune Factory 4, as well as Fire Emblem Awakening and Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. And so for what I will say is a reasonable price, and essentially I got all of that for about the price of a new PS3. I think I did pretty good. And so hopefully that'll be enough to keep me entertained on my flight over, because that's part of what I've been doing to prepare for my trip to Scotland when it comes to tech. Another piece of what I've been doing to get ready, and we had talked about before, is I got my new phablet. And so, Ken, you and I had discussed it a little bit before because I had gotten it just last week. And so this is now the sense of getting the entire thing. And I went so far as to put it in because I was really worried. I'm used to having my old phone in a life-proof case, totally waterproof, and has protected me through many bump spills and things like that. So I totally trust the brand life-proof. Well, they don't have a case for the Plus yet, the big, ridiculous phone that's out here. And so instead I got an OtterBox, which is essentially the most protective case on the market right now, the Defender. Thankfully I have an option where I can return it if I don't like it every time. I'm still deciding, and I'm really holding out hoping that LifeProof comes out with theirs because they tend to be slimmer. But for comparison's sake, here is my old 4S in its LifeProof case next to my 6 Plus in its OtterBox case. And let's just say this new phone is essentially like a good portion of the size of my face, in the joke we all make now about how, if I were to hold this up and talk on it, how it covers essentially the majority of my face. So, these new phones are ridiculous. And I am absolutely talking about it being, phablet 100%. Like this is a phablet.
I would if I didn't hate the word.
Well, I only use it because in a way it's mocking of itself, but at the same time I believe it's appropriate because I've already gotten to a point now with this thing that I can't put it in my pocket with anything else. So my keys now have to go into my other pocket with my wallet.
Oh, you don't want to. It's too scary to.
Yeah, no, I got the OtterBox because without this thing, when it's naked, that thing feels so delicate. I know it's fairly sturdy, but if I were to drop it, I just know the entire thing would smash into a million pieces or something, and I'd be out the $500+ I had to spend on it. So I'm just like, no, I must protect it. But I finally fully moved over. I had to get on with chat with the support for AT&T for my carrier to get it all moved over because I was in this weird state where before I got the case, I wouldn't move it from the house. And so I was using my original phone, but I was using this one essentially as a tablet for when I was sitting at home just watching things or interacting with Facebook and such. And now that I have a case, I decided I need to change it over fully. But to do so, I had to get them to change it off my old one, a new one. They say, oh, you could just move out your SIM cards, right? And you'll be fine. It's all set up. Yeah, except the new phone has a totally different size SIM card than my old 4S. Well, the 4S had this kind of big, massive thing. The one on this phone's really tiny. So I was like, well, no, I can't do that, you bastards. So I had to actually get AT&T to support it. But, yes. Oh, so for missing when you're asking behind the screen on me, because I have the video wall up on my side screen, that's Hando there. And I can switch behind where, unfortunately, Kur0 doesn't have his video active that I can see. Although, we do have Stoner in there with his nice wall, all his wallpapers and stuff behind him. Copy was there, and I don't know what she ran off and did. I was actually hoping to get more input from Copy about whether I was successful in my purchase or not. So yeah, this is a ridiculous phone, and we'll see how it goes. So yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say, and thank you, AgriSSW, for throwing in there. Now that I have a 3DS, I am very serious about knowing what are good games and stuff, and I do not understand the architecture. I've been going in where I didn't want to straight completely format the thing, because the gentleman who owned it before me has a ton of hours in it. I actually felt bad when I deleted the Pokemon game that he had on it because he had, hundreds and hundreds of hours in this game. But I was like, well, but I want to start over. right?
course.
He'd already
It's your thing now.
Yeah, exactly. His Pokédex had like 318 Pokemon in it or something. So I was kind of like, oh my god, he spent so much time on this. Delete. And I figured out how to delete it. I'll start over. So my Pokédex has 6 in it now. Woohoo! Look at me go start. And so I'm gonna have to go through and like get everybody's friend codes and figure out how to freaking use this thing. Because I really do not know. It's an entirely new architecture for me, a new concept. But I'm hoping to get in there and start understanding what this is with the 3DS.
Oh,
I've been wanting it forever. I'll try to carry it around, use the whole, I don't know, Street Pass stuff. I don't know. I'm learning, so I need to be taught. Other things I've been doing. So I have been prepping as a whole for Scotland. One of my preppings for this, other than getting like the 3DS that I think will survive and the phone with the bigger battery and all this and like extra battery that I'm taking with me to make sure all my technology survives on the plane trip so that I can be entertained if I'm not drunk and sleeping the whole time, is with my laptop, I've been trying to download and update all the games I can for offline play. Because I have no
How long do you think this flight is?
It's like 9 hours. And if I'm lucky, I'll sleep through most of it.
Sleep through most of it. It's much
But
easier.
at the same time, I don't know. And if I'm sitting in airports or anything else happens, I just want to be ready for any eventuality. So that I'm not just sitting somewhere twiddling my thumbs for 8 hours or something.
That's fair, but if you've got your DS with you, you're going to be fine.
Well, but I wasn't sure I was going to have the DS, right? And so that just happened, honestly. It came out Friday and Saturday. Friday, he posted the thing. I was like, dude, wait, and you're going to be in Denver on Saturday? Because he lives way up north. But he was coming down to visit family. I was like, oh, crap. That's going to make me pull the trigger. I was like, go ahead and bring them with you to Denver, and I will totally buy them. And so it was I got it yesterday, right? And so I'd already been plotting and planning how I was going to survive. So I have like a book picked out that I'm going to take with me that's got a few stories. Because I don't know, right? I don't know if I'll have power or if my bag will be somewhere, and I have to...
Do you think you're going to the tribal hut in the middle of Scotland somewhere amongst the mud fields?
I have no idea what you have and what is available. I mean, I'm pretty much making sure I pack my kit for converting power, my one that will fit into your weird 2-prong plug thingies that you guys
remember
have.
I live with American.
I know, but I don't know what all Kitten brought over. I'm sure you have converters and such, but at the same time, I want to be prepared, especially, like I said, in the airport or something. So I have this whole list of stuff I'm going to try to figure out how I do it. Well, on the laptop, the thing I was running into, because I've done this before where on little trips, if I do bring my laptop, I will usually, the only games I've had for offline play have been like FTL. But the problem is I can only play so much FTL before I'm just like, meh. Especially if I get a bad start or I get into something and I just die
you
something.
hate yourself for it.
Yeah, I only want to restart a couple times before I'm just like, no, I need to play something else. So what I have done is based on all the crazy sales that have been going on, and there's been a lot of new things come out, but I've been focusing on some retro play. And so the stuff I've been updating are all of the original Command & Conquer series, the Command & Conquer and Red Alert series. Because I started playing on my main PC and I've really been enjoying it. I realized there's something about that original style of RTSs that were designed around single-player gameplay before multiplayer that I truly love. Where your missions would start out with different resources, different objectives, different maps, and all these things. So it was always a little bit of tactical play where you had to figure out what it is I'm doing. That I missed from newer RTSs. Newer RTSs are so focused about, I've got to be competitive multiplayer, that they basically don't even bother with the single player. And I bitch about this with the StarCraft 2 that came out. StarCraft 2 single player was such a piece of crap compared to what StarCraft 1 had for the variety of gameplay and the challenge in there. It was just kind of, they threw it on there with a new little UI, little interface and sort of story. Oh, it's good, right? It was garbage. And so me going back and playing the original Command & Conquer, I'm enjoying it so much that it is to me, yeah, as much as it's nostalgia and we usually think that things that really don't hold up like you think they would, this one does. I love the original one there, so I'm going to have to check that out some more. So I put those on the laptop, like the first 3, like, you know, all the expansions, Command & Conquer 1, 2, and 3, and Red Alert, like 1 and 2. So I'll have those as available games depending on what all is going on as well. And I think that was the main thing I did. But it's weird having Origin now installed on there as well as and some of the other games. 'Cause I might also put like the one that Tom got me with This War of Mine on there because I'm pretty sure I can play that offline. And it just looks really fun. So I'm hoping to get a lot of things. I don't know what I'll be playing, but I have like 3 or 4 options now of things that'll keep me entertained.
Just make sure you don't forget your mouse.
Seriously, I was actually thinking, because the mouse for this, I had this little mobile one, and it's shite. And so I've had to like toss it out the window, and I need to go pick up a new one, but I still want it to be small and packable. and yet I want it to be a solid, good mouse. So I'm not sure how I'm going to manage that. If I end up getting like a cheaper gaming mouse, or if I do try to find a portable laptop mouse or something. But I don't know yet. We'll have to figure that one out.
Both.
So, yep, we'll see.
We won't be doing much gaming anyway, don't you worry.
Oh, I know. No, this is for when I'm downtime, when I'm, sitting around doing stuff. And admittedly, I can see, okay, time for bed, sitting on the couch, or, I'm sorry, the inflatable bed, and sit there and, 3DS? Gotta catch another Pokemon? What? So, I'm bad that way. All right.
I know the feeling.
Other than that, so offline. The last bit of geek cred I have for this week, and then we'll see if we can sneak in an article or two, is that, as I jokingly put it into this, I've been booked for a wedding. And what I say this is my roommate is getting married next year, towards the end of the year, and he had already invited me out, or basically contracted me to come and be part of the wedding as a secondary photographer. And, my normal rate that I do for friends, hey, would you be willing to do this so that we can have someone we trust in there to do some of the photos of the bride, the groom getting ready, all these other things. And then granted, their wedding is going to be really, in my books, extravagant for cost kind of thing, but it's partially where they're going and the family involved that's helping pay for it. So it's going to be, to me, I consider an expensive wedding. Anyhow, I'm going to help with that. Well, just in the last week or so, my roommate came to me and said, hey, we've got a kind of an odd request for you. Would you be willing to officiate our wedding?
Whoa! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
And not only would you be willing to officiate our wedding, would you be willing to officiate our wedding in cosplay as Shepherd Book?
You gotta do that. You cannot pass up on this extreme coolness, and not only that, but the internet fame that will come with this.
Well, so it's interesting, right? Because this was basically, I want to say it was initiated by his fiance. That she was the one that came up with the concept. My initial thought, I was kind of blown away. Wait, what? I was going to shoot photos, but now you want me to talk to people in front of people and stuff at this massive thing you're setting up? So essentially, I've accepted and said I believe I could pull it off. I have enough time to get ready for it, because it also means I'm going to probably keep the hair now growing for another year to try to continue that cosplay. But with it, I'm very much looking at needing to write, essentially the sermon or whatever it will be, whichever you'd consider it, the overall ceremony, write it all up and have things to reference to talk about, both because I know them both personally as friends, make it a very neat experience like that, but as well as trying to throw some things from the cosplay in it. And so I'm tempted, without being too geeky, because a lot of this is her family, we're very old school and traditional, so I can't totally go Firefly or Serenity on it, and just make it all about that.
The ship Firefly above planet XO32.
Yeah, I can't go completely geek, so I've got to merge the two. But I'm very tempted to do basically a Reddit post or something, asking for suggestions and help writing the overall sermon. Because I already had little thoughts about it, say, trying to get a little more in character and mimic how he speaks in it, things like that, as well as wearing more of a... I need to find an idea for the formal dress, because I have what I have for his regular cosplay, but I'm trying to think, what would I do for him if he was officiating a wedding in a nice ceremony, right? So how can I take it a step beyond just his shepherd look, so I look a little more dressed up for it? And so I got to figure out something for that costume. As well as, some of the first thoughts I had was talking about them as a couple, kind of saying, I'm very honored to have this ability or this time to be able to share, this in this wonderful ceremony between all these friends and family, especially when I know them so well, because this has got to be one of the most loving couples I know in the entire verse. And try to throw in little sneaky tidbits of stuff in there. And so I'm just I don't know. I've got a year almost. I've got a little less than a year to figure it out, but you may see me trying to ask for help and stuff. I thought that was kind of neat, and at that level of just maybe that's a bit of geek cred, that I'm going to possibly be officiating a wedding in cosplay as a character. So that could be a lot of fun. We'll see. So that's what I've got for the week for the things that I've been doing geeky, and I think I did a pretty good job. I think I got a lot of little tidbits snuck in this holiday season. We're getting things together. So,
very nice. No, I'm very impressed, sir.
So the last thing to throw out there for the Geek Cred section before we talk news, as though we're going to run up all the time because we're that narcissistic, is that Hey everybody, we said it earlier in the show, we say it again. Make sure you check out all the sales that are going on. In fact, one of the articles I sent in for this week, just to kind of transition us over, I thought I did, and I don't see it now.
I was
Maybe
just going to
not.
talk about the sales at today's sale anyway.
Well, I was going to say, so even Amazon is throwing game sales, and they have it for even traditional games on consoles for people that can't do downloadable. That they have sales as much as 50-60% off on some of the games on Amazon. We will talk about all of our major sites. I know GameStop has had some sales because they were doing like Battlefield 4 for $5 just a couple days back, where Pause2142 alerted us to that. Thank you very much. As well as good old gaming. I talked about a little bit when I was on the show, spoiler by the way, yesterday with Fern and Tabaxian, as I was on No Excuses for a minute. But we talked about some of the sales of good old gaming, the sales that Green Man Gaming does, because they usually have their own discount on top of what you normally get from a sale, as well as traditional holiday sales from Steam. So check all of those out. We've already had friends doing all of the gifting. Again, thanks again to Tom Badguy. I know a lot of us really appreciate the gifts you've given us. I'm going to install this war of mine here shortly. But let's go ahead and talk a little bit of the sale. What do you have for it, talking about it, Ken, or what did you want to bring up?
Oh,
like
Skyrim right now.
Skyrim, 75% off. Go ahead.
Oh, there's so many good sales on it. It is just scary. Too easy to click. Okay, I'll just they'll do it.
Yeah, especially when all my information's already in there.
Yeah, exactly. You just click go and it's done. It's done. Skyrim is $2.49 in pounds. That's like $5. That's nothing.
$5.
Oh my god! If you do not have Skyrim, there is something wrong with you. Go do it, because oh my god, it's like one of the best games ever created. It's definitely my top 3, maybe even top 1 even. I might even say that. It's such a good game.
Although, a note for everyone, when you do, especially in the sales season on Steam.
Or the sales seaman, either
hey,
or.
It's, they're nautical people. But, that make sure if you do purchase anything on sale and you want to gift it, buy it and gift it first before you buy it for yourself. It becomes very difficult to gift things if you already own it. Because all of a sudden they think, no, you can't buy this again. What are you thinking? Unless you get a Steam code from an external site like Green Man Gaming or something like that. Because I tried to do that with, Metal Gear Rising was on sale for $5, and I bought it for myself like, hey, that's something I might check out. And then I went to gift it to another friend who I thought would enjoy it, and I couldn't get back to the sale page. It's like, you own it, you want to play it or install it, right? Like, no, I want to buy it again for a friend. And it kept airing out on me, so I'm just like, God, you crap. So if you are going to do something like that, make sure you pay attention and perhaps buy it for your friends first before buying it for yourself. All right. What else do you got, Ken?
Oh, there's so many things. So Spore is 75% off, down to £3. That's like $6-7. It's pennies, man. Pennies. Spore is such a good game as well. Age of Mythology, the extended edition, down to 75%. Shadow Warrior, I quite enjoyed Shadow Warrior, 90% off, $2.99. Alien Isolation, which by the way won IGN's Game of the Year, I believe, down to $15.99. 50% off. That's not bad at all. Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Not played it, but I read all the lore behind it for some reason one day when I was bored. So it's got some nice lore behind it, and I think it looks good. So I'd check that out. It's only £3 as well, 33% off. Portal 2, pennies. Spin tires. Why is this on like the featured thing? What is spin tires?
It is driving a bunch of vehicles through off-road situations. It's silliness in my mind.
Whoa.
But I can't say much because there's Farm Simulator, there's,
Yeah, why is it on the featured? Why is it featured?
I don't know. Maybe they think you as a, Scottish person should be off-roading. No, it's one that just came up at some point, so it's been getting a lot of noise. But actually, one of the better ones that's out there on sale right now is Shadow Warrior. The new Shadow Warrior that came out is like $4. It's 90% off on sale right now. I haven't seen that big of a discount on any other games yet this season. I played some Shadow Warrior. Need to go ahead and finish it. I enjoyed it. And for like freaking $4, that's nothing. Nothing.
It's true. Also, remember if you go vote every day on the Steam page, you get these little cards that you can sell or turn into gems and stuff. I've been selling mine personally, because then I get actual money that I can put towards games that I have to worry about their silly new system they've got in place. So I've managed to get 15 pence so far by voting, and I've just sold another 15 pence worth there. So I'll eventually buy myself a game with all that again.
See, I should really do something like that because I don't do anything. I collect them all, and I basically sit with just a bunch of cards in my directory because I don't know how to trade them, and I don't know what they're worth, and sell them, so I just leave. I'm stupid
When
that
you
way.
hit sell, it shows you a graph of the most recent, like, people selling them for the past 3 months and their average price and stuff. It tells you how to do it, basically. It's like, this is the price you should do.
I just don't even think about it, and so I'm probably missing out, but I'm just like, meh, yeah.
Yeah. So the top sellers in general, let's see. We've got Skyrim, Alien Isolation, Age of Mythology, Portal 2, Bulletstorm, Borderlands, the pre-sequel is 17% off, down at £25. That's like, what, $40?
Well, it was 50% off yesterday at some point. Or somewhere I saw it for that. I mean, there's so many sales. Well, I'm looking right now.
Always look around.
Prison Architect is 80% off.
Ooh. By the way, before you buy any game, go along to, let me actually link it. Istthereanydeal.com. Literally that website. Istthereanydeal.com. That website, you put in the game name, and it'll tell you where all that game is on sale just now, and tell you the differences. And you can be, oh, I can get that for 50% off here, but not here. You know, don't go buy it for no reason for like double the price. Silliness. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Shadow Warrior 90% off as well. 7 Days to Die, like we mentioned. Yep. The Binding of Isaac 33% off. Grim Dawn, The Vanishing of Ethan Carter, and Never Alone are the top 16. So go check those out. There's some of these I haven't heard of, you know that. And why is Spin Tire so high up there?
Well, it's funny because Kur0 specifically said, don't get that game, it's horrible. So be aware.
It's funny what putting something on the front page can do, though, eh? I mean, somebody must have handed Valve some money to have
there
that
are deals that happen for advertising, so don't be surprised if certain things get pushed up there. It's just like when you go to any car mag and you see, oh, this featured car of the month, and you look at half the ads in the magazine are that car. Wait a second, so you got paid to feature this car. I see what happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Also,
What? Alien Colonial
Civilization 5, the complete edition, which is everything but the most recent expansion pack, is only £17, which is pretty damn nice. And Civ Beyond Earth, the latest expansion, is £25 by itself, which is still pretty expensive for me, but it's 16% off, so hey, if you're interested. Rise, Son of Rome, I couldn't play that on my computer. It was too high quality, and I could do it with reduced graphics, but I refuse.
Well, that was the Xbox One, like, you know, launch thing where they're like, you must play this for us. And it was like, really? That game's an interactive movie at best.
Lose prey. Forest, 50% off. Shadow of Mordor, Middle Earth, 25% off. A lot of nice deals going on just now. I am probably going to pick up... No, I got to save money. I got to save money for the coming month.
Yep, it is so difficult because you see the deals and you're just like, that's so cheap. It's like I'm almost giving away things if I don't buy that.
The worst thing is, I bet I spend about 80% of my money on Steam while on the show because I'm too busy talking about the games. I'm like, you know, I do want this. I'm praising it, and I do want it. I may as well just get it.
Well, so it's funny because I will probably pick up Prison Architect because that's a hell of a discount.
You've not got it yet? Oh, yeah.
No, because, again, too many damn games for me to play, not enough time in the world. If someone wants to just pay me to play games and review them, I will, but I'm not Total Biscuit. I haven't made that transition to be able to make that my life.
Speaking of which, we got an email about a game to review I sent you, by the way, just FYI.
Okay. Thank you.
Who's putting us forward for this? How do they know that we do these things?
Well, we sometimes if you get linked out to previous reviews and if you've done it in the past, you'll get put into a pool of people that they'll re-invite to. Because I get a ton of emails, but most of the games that I have on my email list for things we could review are kind of like, eh. So I don't push it out to the community. But I have started a forum for the show hosts, so that I'll post in every once in a while if I get an opportunity for a game review that I think could be interesting, that I'll throw it out to everybody because I don't think I'm always the one most appropriate to do reviews. And so there's a lot of times I'll throw it out there and be like, hey, does anybody in the shows want to review this game because I can get us keys? But again, most of the games I see, they're very indie and to me not that interesting. So
yeah, no, I agree.
That's the challenge, right?
Yeah. So loads and loads and loads of games out there on Steam. Check them out. Check the sales out every day because they change every day. And you might be surprised. It might be something you really want out there and you might save a lot of money because, you know, just make sure you don't get fall for the general, oh, I want this game that just came out and it's 5% off, so worth it. Give it a few months. That's what I usually do. Just give it a few months and then it'll be 25% off for the spring sale, you know? Just hold on. You can do it. You can do it. All right. We've got articles and things, don't we?
There are some, and so yes, we should probably get into that. Do you have one you'd like us to get started? And yeah, Pause puts out there and says, I heard Rise was a big turd. I've heard very similar. It's one of those, if you can get it super cheap and you just want something pretty to show off your machine, by all means. But beyond that, don't bother. There are better things out there.
Definitely. Although I played of it, you're right, it's an interactive movie. I just thought it was pretty, and it was a bit generic.
Me? So as I go trying to buy stuff, I receive a gift, and it's like, wait, what? Like right in the middle of me, like saying I'm purchasing something.
What did you get? Come on, spill the beans.
So as I'm talking about Prison Architect, you know, the being 80% off, Kur0 sent me a copy of it. So thank you very much, Kur0. And I'm literally sitting on my payment page for it as I was about to say purchase.
That's funny.
Darn it. So let me back out of that so I don't confuse the heck out of Steam and try to purchase something I just put in my library. That'll really piss it off. But anyhow, definitely check out the sales. All right, articles. Things for us to talk about that is news related. So
I have a lot of articles, sir. So many.
All right, give me one. Start us off since we have 5 minutes. So give us our one article for today.
They're all so cool. Okay, this one first because it's more fun. Minecraft creator Notch outbids Jay-Z and Beyonce for a $70 million mansion. That is freaking fantastic. His dream house is a reality, it says here. This is from IGN. Minecraft creator Marcus Notch Persson has outbid artist Jay-Z and Beyonce to purchase a $70 million mansion in Beverly Hills, described as an actual listing as an overwhelming sensory experience. The mansion is made up of 8 bedrooms, 15 bathrooms, a pool, a candy room, a car showroom, and a movie theater, among others. You know,
that sounds like something I need. Yeah.
Yeah. According to Persons representative, $70 million is the highest price ever paid for a home in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I love that gaming has gone to this point.
Well, the fact that Notch has that Microsoft money. Oh.
Yeah. The house has been on the market since August, and Jay-Z and Beyonce were the highest bidders before Persson closed the deal. He was just like, no!
Yes.
No! Persson acquired a large amount of money from his creation of Minecraft, a popular sandbox building game. Have you heard of that before, Mr. Wade? I think I've heard of this game.
I heard of something about it. Not sure.
That's strange. I thought it was this indie little thing. I don't know. Building game available on nearly every modern platform. He recently sold the development for $2.5 billion. Yeah, he could have easily
$1 billion. Yeah, so 70 million is like, wait, what? Did I drop something?
Crazy.
That is insane.
Crazy.
So, but yeah, it's funny because it coming out of someone big like that being outbid by a gamer, essentially.
I love that. I love that so much. It makes me smile like beyond belief. So good. All right, what you got?
Oh, there's so many. You're right. There are just too many darn articles. So, geez, what should I bring up? I will go with a newer one, and I will go with, Jesus, this one because it's just silly and little. But as in honor of me having Pokemon now and trying to understand some things with it, as I don't know anything about the darn series. But, and I hate to say that this article comes from Kotaku because, yeah.
Okay, sometimes.
Sometimes, minus the whole Gamergate nonsense. But Kotaku says, fan-made Pokemon fighting game looks better than the official one. So people who are a fan of Pokemon and people who are a fan of fighting games, one that says Pokemon Type Wild isn't just any Pokemon fan game. It's a more intense Street Fighter-esque take on the Pocket Monster series, and you should totally check it out if you haven't. Goes on to say, earlier this year, Pokemon Company announced a crossover between Pokemon and Tekken, appropriately named Pokken Tournament, which is the official game, and showed Lucario and Machamp in a fierce one-on-one battle. The game looked interesting as a concept with sound. It says a Pokemon fighting game just makes sense. It says, but right now the official game is only slated for a Japanese arcade release. We will see, and not sure if we will see an actual Western release. It says, but that's okay, because you can play a fighting game version right now. So Type Wild, essentially it says it's a standard fighting game conventions, and if you played fighting games before, you'll know exactly what to expect. Nothing out of the ordinary, but even so, Type Wild is still a novel take. The thing about what we've seen so far out of Pokken is that they only announced the characters you might expect out of a Pokemon fighting game, fighting style Pokemon. That's cool and all, but it's also kind of safe. The beauty of Pokemon is that, and anyone who's in the pre-show that heard me play the entire list of all Pokemon, it was like 718 names or something that came up in the one that they did, it comes out and says, there's a lot of other Pokemon that you could do that are a lot more interesting. That's what Type Wild gets right. It's not just the characters you expect to see, like Blaziken or Lucario. Yes, I'm probably saying all these things terrible. It's also Pokemon like Breloom and, more hilariously, Snorlax, which I would totally play Snorlax. Every character has moves from the game too. Gengar, for example, can learn things like Shadow Ball or Sucker Punch, two moves which the average Gengar owner in the main Pokemon games would likely equip Gengar with. So it goes on to say, essentially this is just one that fans came up with, so I think it's a free game that's out there that you should go check out. So look for Pokemon Type Wild and see what they've done. So that's what I had. I just think it's kind of an interesting thing that, and I've seen a lot of fan-made games out there. There's even like the My Little Pony fighting game that people are working on that are really quite good, and I wish we'd see some more because sometimes they're better than the original or the official games because they're more imaginative. Anyhow, that's pretty much what we have time for the show this week, and we need to wrap things up. So, Ken, would you please let everybody know where they can find us and what they need to be aware of for the show? Since we
sure thing. In 1 week's time, you will be
Geekoscope.
listening to. Yeah, in 1 week's time, you'll be listening to us live together on ShowX of VitaProductions.com. Be sure to tune in for a drink-filled, fun-filled show, and we'll see. Maybe we might go on longer, might go on earlier. We'll see what goes on. We'll see what happens. Check out the other shows on VitaProductions.com. They're all fantastic, including Casually Hardcore, which is not on VCW, but they have their own little thing going on after, when they are awesome. Go to check them out too. Send us an email, showx@VitaProductions.com. Send us anything, to including your geek cred, any interesting things been going on in your life, anything generally interesting. We'd enjoy hearing your emails, reading them too. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com/VTWShowX, twitter.com/.dead, and twitter.com/GoHex. For the show, Wayne and myself. Check us out on Facebook, type in ShowX to find us there, and check out our Patreon. Every little penny goes towards keeping the show alive, and the website as well, and the forums, and the IRC, and the Ventrilo, and all these millions of things that we're currently paying for, and any help is appreciated. Thank you guys, and thank you for having me on the show again, sir. I look forward to seeing you in Scotland very, very shortly.
Yeah, go figure. Next week's show should be a little more interesting with that in mind.
Yeah.
If I've had time to recover after the night before, so we shall see. All right, thank you everybody for listening to Show X. We appreciate all of you tuning in for us. Please let all your friends know about all of our shows and everything on the network. We'd love to grow and hear and see more of you out here. And please email us and let us know what you think of our show, and please give us your geek cred for the week and answer anything that we've asked during the show. So you've been listening to us, and we are done for the week, and we will catch you again next week. So thank you very much. And bye.
Goodbye. See you next zombie. Good night. Also, God.
It's an amazing smile.